I know we're all in this lockdown, maybe not together, but nonetheless, we're all in this lockdown, stuck, and are trying to plot on what to do after this beer flu epidemic is over. Alright, I get it. A lot of you are deciding on places to go, and if you're smart, you would have purchased tickets already at this point on wherever you wanted to in order to take advantage of the low costs that are occurring within the airline industry. But as far as this is concerned, I've been noticing how some of you out here who have been traveling, calling yourselves passport bros, saying you're SYSBM, etc. I've noticed how a lot of you have been conducting yourselves when you're on the other side of the fence. Well, this channel is all about telling you how to conduct yourself while you're on the other side of the fence. And quite frankly, while the majority of you have been handling yourselves well, and yes, there has been an attack on all of us because of us not willing to stay within the Communitah and to be the bailout plan for the Scraggle-Daggle, the Maggle, and their baby's kids. There are some of you out there who have been conducting yourselves in a way that might be questionable at best. I'm not going to say it's egregious or as egregious as skeptics and critics will say, but I will state this. Some of you out here who have been traveling, calling yourselves dinking men, etc., classic men, traveling brothers, SYSBM, a lot of you who will argue against, criticize, and scrutinize the Communitah and its ways, while you conduct yourselves well out here, and while you're red pill in the States, you all will drop all the principles and all of the creeds and all of the tenets that you uphold in America once you step foot overseas. And this is what this video is about. Do not plan on leaving the Communitah if you're planning on doing these things. Now, these two things that I've been noticing, and there are multiple things that you shouldn't do, especially if you're planning on leaving the Communitah. For starters, one thing I've been noticing from a lot of individuals who have left the Communitah, especially those who have left this country to go overseas for an extended period of moment, is this. A lot of you will be red pill in the Communitah towards the Daggle, and I've touched this on my video, red pill for Keisha and blue pill for Becky. But this is just more of an expansion on that to remind you all that going overseas should not be the one thing that switches your philosophy over from being an on-point individual to someone who is going to be asleep at the wheel. Look, you have to handle people universally the same. I'm not saying treat them all like crap or whatever, or be suspicious. There are certain societies and certain individuals that are less opportunistic in a nefarious way than the United States. And to those individuals, yeah, okay, be a bit more liberal and lenient towards them. But people are people. Human nature is human nature. And what a lot of people call female nature is to an extent universal. However, I will give credit that overseas it is a bit more straightforward, fair, unrigged, and not lopsided. Now, as far as that's concerned, there are some of you out there who, when you leave the country, especially, or even leave the Communitah, you tend to drop all of your red pill angst, red pill principles, manosphere philosophies, and go completely blue pill. Whether it's tricking towards individuals overseas, trying to make a lifestyle for them, or even just doing the little things that you brag about not doing here, for instance. I know the big thing of buying a woman a drink was a big topic a few years ago, and I'm surprised it hasn't came back up as a discussion. Maybe because of this beer flu stuff, but who knows. But I know a lot of individuals in the spaces of the manosphere who will call someone a maggle and a simp if you bought someone in America, or especially in the Communitah, a drink. But these individuals overseas not only will buy other broads drinks, they will buy half of the damn bar itself. They will let these women run all over them. And how do I know this? The stories I hear, the individuals I see. You can tell that just some of these individuals are just straight licks. Licks who are pissed off that they didn't get a fair shake in the Communitah or in the West in general. And these individuals, instead of using that lesson of being the lick in order to change their lives, change themselves, in order to get away from that lick position and that lick mindset, they'll just take it overseas and wash, rinse, and repeat. Now, you don't have to say who you are. I have a good idea of whom this applies to, and your secret's safe with me. Now, the second thing I'm going to say about not leaving the Communitah if you're planning on doing this is the following. I know a lot of us are pissed off at the rigged SMV market of the Communitah on how certain individuals, particularly the Pookies, particularly the street cats, no knock towards them, but it has to be said that these individuals have been crowned the alphas of the Communitah, while men who work hard, who are on their grind, who are on their hustle, it isn't even just the educated you-know-whats, but just men who have some damn substance, are seen as non-select, are seen as beta, are seen as omega in some instances. But as far as that's concerned, there are a lot of us who are discontent with it to the point that we are planning, if not have already, left the Communitah and the West in general. Now, to all the guys who have done so, I applaud you in leaving the former rotten corpse of the so-called Communitah. However, the mistake that a lot of these guys are making is this. While these guys are trying to leave the culture that has tormented, terrorized, demonized, scapegoated, and in some cases destroyed thinking men when they were in their formative and childhood years, these individuals will go overseas, and the first thing that they will do, the first place that they will go, resembles something right from the Communitah. Particularly these guys who go to these nightclubs that are Bebe Kid based. Meaning this, you tell me that you want to leave the Communitah, you want to get rid of all of the trouble because you think the Communitah is basically the cause of a lot of the troubles, which you can argue that, and I'm not going to go against that. But you're telling me that the first thing you do when you go overseas is go to the same kind of environment that resembles the kind of environment that gave you all sorts of hell and BS. You're telling me that's the first thing you do? You won't go to a nightclub even, and that's the thing about nightclubs. Why are we going to nightclubs in 2020 still? Watch the video, nightclubs are female casinos. No, nobody wants to watch that. Okay, cool. But the first thing you'll do is go not only to a nightclub, but to a nightclub that resembles the kind of environment that you were shut out in, that you were seen as the educated you-know-what in, that you were seen as a cornball in, that you were seen as less than, non-select in, for starters. And second, once you get in there, which you pay the cover cost, seriously, you're paying the cover cost to go to a place that resembles an environment that didn't treat you or thought you were crap. Instead of going to even the nightclubs that resemble more of the culture of said country. But in any case, you go to this nightclub, and then if you find some women who are looking to get with you, the ones you run into resemble the kind of women that turned you down in the Communitah, whether physically or personality-wise. It always seems like these traveling men, when they go overseas, will always end up with the same kind of women. I'm not even talking about bodybuilding in this case. That's irrelevant. But I'm talking about those women who have the marks and the nuances and the personality of the same daggles or even waggles you swore off to leave alone forever, and that you have told everyone in the world that they are the spawn of Satan himself. These are the kind of women that you seem to attract. And also alongside that, you, when it comes to dealing with these kind of women, are basically looking for these kind of women, not only just to look like the part of the daggle, but to act like daggles. You're telling me that you leaving the Communitah just to find a place and women who basically resemble the Communitah is justified. You telling me that that's what's saving yourself? I know this isn't for all SYSBM guys or traveling pros, but there are a certain subset of guys who, quite frankly, I'm just going to cut this down to the chase. These guys are still looking to be validated by the Communitah. by the Dagolim. And if they can't find that in their local communities or countries, they will fly overseas to do so. And to that, I say, it is pretty sad to say the very least. If you are still looking and fighting to get your respect in the Communitah, then in that case, don't even bother with going overseas. Don't even bother with going to a different environment and contributing to the delinquency of said country. Because quite frankly, that is how countries such as the Dominican Republic and parts of Brazil have become infamous when it comes to certain men going over there. You couldn't strike it in the country of your birth. You couldn't cut it in the Communitah because of the delinquent culture. But you decide to bring that culture there by turning the women over there, not necessarily turning, but looking for the women over there to basically replicate the same kind of woman who rejected you here? In other words, you still want to be Pookie, huh? You want to be Pookie, right? You want to be Pookie, you want to be Cool Breeze, you want to be the select male, not necessarily just in general, but the select male in the Communitah, from a Communitah perspective. If this is what all this is for, just stay your ass in the Communitah. Don't even leave the Communitah to go to a place outside the Communitah in America. Just stay your ass there, because what you're doing is a heavy disservice to all men who actually want to go places to deal with different cultures and deal with different people with different mindsets. And bringing that Ado-Scruggle underclass culture to another country by trying to live your Pookie moment because you couldn't do it over here, it's just ruin it for the rest of us. Whatever demons you have, whatever hang-ups you are dealing with, whatever battles you're fighting, find someone to deal with it. Whether it's professional help, whether it's getting validated in the Communitah, which all you pretty much need to do in the Communitah is just to be a deadbeat, honestly. Be a deadbeat, maybe some muscles, because, I mean, you're looking at these trap guys these days, the trap stars. I mean, these are the skinniest paperweights that I've ever seen grace God's green earth. And as far as that's concerned, these guys have no issue getting the baddest of the insta-fat thoughts. Oh, did I say that? But in any case, deal with the issues however you can before you even contemplate stepping outside the United States, especially when you represent all of us. Everyone else out there, always bet on X.